Hey y'all, Carolina Tony here.
And Debbie.
We are here in Cody, Wyoming for another day, and we are going to the old trail town. I really don't know what's here, but you get to find out with us, and we'll get started right after this station identification.
This is an old trail town. On this site in 1895, Western scout and showman William F. Buffalo Bill Cody laid out the original town site of Cody, Wyoming, which was named in his honor. Today, Old Trail Town preserves the lifestyle and history of the frontier West through a rare collection of authentic structures and furnishings.
Curly's cabin, log cabin home of Custer's Crow Indian scout Curly. Curly escaped from the Battle of Little Bighorn on June the 25th, 1876, and brought the news of Custer's defeat. The cabin was built near Crow Agency, Montana in about 1885. Buffalo coat. Yeah, for the late 1800s. Pretty nice little home. And look, here is a photograph of Curly in his younger days. Homestead cabin built by homesteaders on Monument Hill in North Cody about 1900. And here is an oddity, a two-headed calf. Buffalo hunter's cabin built on Shell Creek and hunting camp of Jim White and Oliver Hanna in 1880. White was murdered at the camp in late October 1880. The camp was later used by Al Kersner when he homesteaded the property in 1889.
We actually, our weather is
These Shell store. This was the first store in Shell, Wyoming, built in 1892.
When you have too many, you know they're like.
Mr. Moose.
we actually, our weather is
These Shell store. This was the first store in Shell, Wyoming, built in 1892.
When you have too many, you know they're like.
Mr. Moose. This is the coffin school. This cabin was built in the W Ranch on the Wood River west of Metatitsi in 1884. It was used as a school for several years. It derives its name from the tragic death of Alfred Nauer, who died of gangrene in this cabin in 1885. He had chopped himself in the leg while hewing logs. Bonanza Post Office, built in 1885 in Bonanza, Wyoming Territory, one of the first settlements of the Bighorn Basin, is all closed up. And here is another log cabin.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a hole in the wall cabin. Through this door walked Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, and other outlaws of the famous Hole in the Wall gang. This cabin was built in Wall County, west of Casey, Wyoming Territory in 1883 by Alexander Gent. Yeah. This is the Sundance Kid, Ben Kirkpatrick, Butch Cassidy, Will Carver, and Kid Curry. Have you ever heard of the term tough as a liver-eating Johnson? Well, behind me is the grave of the original liver-eating Johnson. This is the grave of John Jeremiah Liver-Eating Johnson. His family was brutally murdered by Indians, and he decided that he would take vengeance on those Indians, and he spent his days hunting them down and killing them, and after he killed them, he would cut their livers out. Once he was captured by the Indians and he broke free of his bonds, and he killed his guards and ate one of them's legs.
Redford
Yeah,
played
yeah.
in that movie.
Right, Robert Redford played him in a movie called Jeremiah Johnson back in the 70s. And that movie was the inspiration of the real life John Johnston. So Jeremiah Johnson was in a veterans home, and he died originally in Santa Monica, California, and he was exhumed and brought here to the Old West Town in Cody, Wyoming. And they say that the funeral was one of the largest funerals that has ever happened till and since in Cody, Wyoming. See, there's a reinterment right there. And here is a photograph of Robert Redford. He was an pallbearer at Jeremiah Johnson's burial. And remember, he played Jeremiah Johnson in the movie Jeremiah Johnson. This is the grave of a buffalo hunter by the name of Jim White. Was born in 1828 and died in 1880. He was found in his cabin, murdered by thieves that stole his buffalo hides. Jim and his company had killed at least 4,600 buffaloes. Now, we find out later, of course, Wild Bill Cody, or Buffalo Bill, he was a buffalo hunter, and he hunted just buffalo to feed the army. And he became an advocate against killing buffalo. And also, the buffalo that are in Yellowstone National Park right now are descendants of the buffalo that were once part of Wild Bill Cody's Wild West show. Here is a tribute to Jim Bridger, regarded the most famous Rocky Mountain trapper and explorer. And a tribute to John Coulter, first known white American explorer to enter this locale in the fall of 1807. Another homestead cabin built at the head of Dry Creek between Cody and Meetsy around 1900.
Pretty elaborate for 1900.
A trapper cabin built on Cottonwood Creek. Here's that wagon barn. And here is an original sheep herder's wagon. Blacksmith shop. I would say those are original. Yeah. The McCulloch cabin was built by Peter McCulloch and his men on a Carter Mountain about 1879, Wyoming Territory. He brought the first cattle into the region around Cody for the Carter Cattle Company of Fort Bridger, Wyoming.
Good to see those.
And you cannot imagine the hours that it took to do the beadwork on all this stuff. More than that, the hours it took to make the beads. Oh, look. Here is the Rivers Saloon. This saloon was built in 1888 at the mouth of Wood River west of Meetsy, Wyoming, by Henry Rivers. It was frequented by Butch Cassidy and W.A. Gallagher, Blind Bill Houlihan, and many other outlaws, cowboys, and colorful characters of the Old West. Bullet holes could be seen in the door.
And here.
And there. And there. There was some bad boys. Hey Debbie, come look. It's an ice box like ours, except a little smaller. In 1886, William McNally erected this cabin while building the first bridge across the Gray Bull River. Well, we have ended up at the Great Pile of Horns here on the end of the street in the old trail town in Cody, Wyoming. There was a lot of stuff here. I thought it was really interesting learning a little more about Jeremiah Johnson.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see just how primitive they lived back in the 1880s and really how sound the structures were that they built.
Yeah, a lot of these buildings have been moved to this site, but this is the actual site of a old trail town. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give us a big old thumbs up. Be sure to share with your family and friends. But until next time,
Y'all have a good day.
yeah.